Welcome to my craft table. Hello, this is Jamie Magrich. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. It's using two different stamp sets, one that was carried over from last year and one from this year. A little bit of copper embossing on there. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to be using the Christmas Gleaming stamp set and the 2 punches that goes with it. To stamp a couple of the ornaments and then the sentiment. I actually use this one. And from Making Christmas Bright, I'm using these stars. Okay, so let's get started. I have a piece of scrap, Night of Navy to stamp the ornaments on. I have a piece of thick, which is 4 by 5 1/4. A piece of Night of Navy, which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and a piece of for my card base, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Okay, let me go ahead and secure this to my card base, and then I'll place that aside. Oops, I should have done that before we started. Forgot to. There we go. There's going to be just that little border around it, like a 1/16 of an inch. Alright, let's place that aside. I'm going to place the white piece aside for now, and I'm going to do the ornaments first. I'm going to use Versamark ink for that. I'm going to stamp one of the large, this one here. And it goes in the ornament this way. Let's do it here. Okay, and I need 2 of this ornament. Here. Okay, I'm done with my Versamark ink. And I can bring in my copper embossing powder. And I just have it sitting in some coffee filters. It's in this bead tray. Just makes it easier to clean it up. Make sure it's good and covered. I should have used my embossing buddy, but I don't think it's going to matter for this one. Okay, then I'm going to pick this first coffee filter up. The reason I have 2 is if in case I miss a jar and it's still contained. There's a little bit there, but okay. I'm going to put the cover on this. Take that away. I'm going to bring in my heat tool. And I like to do embossing on this wooden board. It helps to dissipate the heat a little bit, so I have a little less warping on my paper. Warm up my heat tool. I'm going to put on pause for a minute. Okay, now let's emboss these. I like to keep my tool moving just a little bit because it's hard to tell where the direction for the heat is coming from on this tool. And then all of a sudden it turns shiny and melts. Hope you can see that. There's our embossing. Okay, now I'm going to set this aside to let it cool for a minute. And I'm going to bring in this piece. And I'm going to bring in this long star piece. And balmy blue ink. Okay. And I'm going to move these out of the way. All the way across here, I'm going to stamp this. I'm going to stamp some shorter and some longer, and then I'm even going to stamp some where I double it up. I'll show you. I'll stamp some of this one, and then we'll extend it a little. Bottom of that didn't stamp, but I'm missing the end of my, let's turn it that way. Let's do another long one. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's like two long ones and then a short one in the middle, and that's so you can line it up at this end to extend it. Put some closer together, some farther apart. Excuse me. Alright, sorry about that. Finish stamping this up. Let's do another long one. Another really short one. Right off the page here, so alright, let me do one off of this end. Alright, so I'm done with that stamp. Now I'm going to come in with the blueberry bushel. If I can get it opened. And I'm coming in with this star one. I'm going to do the same thing, but a little more a little less of them. And it's alright if they don't all stamp. And it probably would have been smart if I'd put scratch paper on top of this, because I'm getting ink all over the top of my, it'll wash right off, but a couple more here. I need to do one over here. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the single star, which is a solid star, and I'm going to add a few of those around. And if I hurry and don't get it all the way, I just stamp another one next to it. trying just not to put them all in a line. I wanted a little bit of a randomness to it so that your eye flows around the page and follows them. Alright, that looks good. Okay. Now I did add some copper embossing on my one using the same star, so let me bring in my chamois. Clean off that little star. Let me clean off this one while I'm at it, so I don't get blue ink all over everywhere, because I will. Alright, and I'm done with these, so let's put those away. Alright, so now I'm going to bring in this one, which is little speckles. It comes in the Christmas Gleaming. It's right here. I'm bringing that and my star, and I'm going to bring back my Versamark ink. And I'm going to stamp some of these stars with the gold or copper. Stamp them with the Versamark. Where? You can't see this ink, so that makes it a little more difficult. Actually, I'm going to come down here and fill some of those spots that didn't stamp very well. Okay, let me see where those are, so let me bring in my embossing powder. Okay, a little more here. A little more here. See, I got something on there, but that's alright. The next step is going to cover all that up. So now I'm going to come in with this little thing. And I'm just going to add some of those around. On either side of my stars. There's no right or wrong or anything. It's just to add a little bit more texture to the card. It would have been fine without this. Just adds a little bit something more. And you can't see where you're stamping it, so let me add some embossing powder. Oh, I'm off screen. Excuse me. Tap it from the back. Alright. There's a couple spots that are a little messy, but I will fix them. Alright, now I'm going to heat set that, and I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. I've got that all embossed. You can see the shiny stars all over the place. We can get this out of the way. And let's bring in our punches. Okay, so I'm going to bring in the punch for this, and I'm going to punch these out. Line it up so that it's centered within the punch. So I'm going to punch these little ones first because I need to cut a little bit away from there. I have a little too much at the bottom there. Okay, line this up. And punch. Again here. Line it up. And punch. Okay. Let me try this again. Line this one up. And punch. There we go. Okay, so now we've got our three. We're going to bring in some dimensionals. We're going to put dimensionals on the back of the large one and one of the small ones. And these are leftover dimensionals out of one of my paper pumpkins. Bring in a scissor. I want to cut a couple of pieces of this edge because I want some smaller ones to go with the tops. Small piece to go there. Small piece to go there. We do have the mini dimensionals that would work perfectly for that. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and take another piece of this. Okay. And now we're going to lay them out. I want this one to be round in here. And I forgot to stamp my sentiment, so I'll leave it off of this one. Oops, this one will go down here. I don't know if I have room for it. Should have stamped it when I was doing those stars. As I stamp it down here, I could do that and stamp it down here. And this one will go here. Awesome. Okay, I like that. Let me go ahead and stamp my sentiment. And again, I'm embossing it. I'm using the Versamark ink. And this is quite a solid stamp. Make sure you get it inked up well. Making sure I leave it on the paper so it has time for that ink to transfer well. And I'm going to go emboss that real fast. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I've embossed that sentiment. And let's go ahead and adhere our ornaments. Now this one is going to just get glued on there flat, so let's do that one first. Excuse me. Okay, so the two are getting put on with the dimensionals that we already have on the back, so let's take the backs off of them. one's going to overlap that one a little bit. Right there, I think. It's a little crooked. Let's see if I can straighten it. There we go. So it'll go down here. Okay, now this is going to get added to the front of our card with the liquid glue. You can see the ink from the pad got on the back of this, but that's alright. And again, there's just going to be a tiniest little layer because it's just a 1/16 larger than the card itself. Alright, now I want to show you how I did the ribbon. I got some grosgrain ribbon that's an 1/8 inch. It's not Stampin' Up, it's white ribbon. And I have, for this one, I used the bronze marker. I brought in my silicone craft sheet. And I just took the ribbon, opened the end of the marker, the wide end, and I laid the marker down on there, and I just pulled gently the ribbon underneath it, which colored it this lovely bronze color, which matches the copper pretty well. I think I have more than I need here, but it takes a minute for it to dry. There you go. Nice, easy way to color the ribbon. Alright. And it's colored on both sides. Alright, so let me tie a few bows here. Just need 3 small bows. I need them to be quite small. Okay. This ribbon twisted, but there we go. There's a nice bow. Okay, now let me tie the other 2 and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I guess I didn't do too badly. That's all the extra I had, and a couple little ends I cut off. So not bad at all. Okay. Now let's adhere these to our cards, and I'm going to use glue dots for that. So I'm just going to take the glue dot, kind of pick it up with the ribbon, and curl it up behind it. And I'm going to adhere them to the ornaments. Oh, that one's kind of big. Let's move that one over here onto this one. And I put them on the tops of the ornaments, but you could put them wherever you wanted. So that's sticking to my fingernails. Now, if it's easier, you could roll the glue dot first. Put it on where you want it. And then add the bow on top, whichever works best for you. Okay, and then the last final touch is going to be to add some rhinestones. Just wondering if I should use these blue ones. Let's try it. I want one of these larger ones, the center of this one. Maybe that's too big. Come on, get off my finger. We'll just stick with the little ones. Little one here. Little one here in the center of this one. A little one in the center of this one. Some look like those antique ornaments. There we go, and there's our card for today. There's the one we just created. Here's the one I did previous with the sentiment a little bit more in the center. Well, thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you try it and have a little bit of fun making some cards today.